A whole roasted leg of lamb makes an impressive centerpiece for Easter or any special meal, but because it's one of those special occasion roasts, it can be a bit unfamiliar or daunting to carve. Well, in this video, I'll show you how to carve a whole roasted leg of lamb into slices. For the most tender results, the trick is to carve against the grain of the meat. I'm using a knife with a long and rather thin blade, and I'm going to start by cutting a few slices in the same direction as the bone. Now this is probably the easiest way to carve a leg of lamb because the bone doesn't get in the way. But if we look closely at these slices, you can see these long fibers of meat. When we're carving in this direction, we're carving with the grain of the meat, and that means your lamb is going to be chewier and not as tender as it could be. So now that I've carved off a few slices, I'm going to turn the lamb over and set it on that flat surface that I created. This will keep a nice stable base. Now I'm going to start to cut against the grain of the meat. So to do that, I'm just going to make a series of cuts perpendicular to the bone. You can make these any thickness you'd like. I'm cutting these about 1/4 to a 1/2 inch thick. And notice that I'm cutting all the way down to the bone. Now I'm going to turn my knife parallel to the bone, and in one long cutting motion, just cut away all these slices. Now that I've created a flat surface on this side, I'm going to turn the leg over and do the exact same thing on the other side. First, a series of cuts perpendicular to the bone, and then one long cut to release all of the slices. Now let's compare one of these slices that I cut against the grain with one of the first few slices that I had cut with the grain. So here was one of the first slices. You see those long fibers of meat. And here's the slice that was cut against the grain. You can see that the texture is much less fibrous looking. It almost looks finely grained. That means the lamb you serve will be much more tender and delicious.